This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming the gorgeous, the talented, the award-winning Saundra Santiago. Yes, Gina Calabrese from Miami Vice and Carmen from the cult classic Beat Street, both celebrating their 40th anniversaries. I am so excited. Big part of my childhood coming on today. She's an award-winning theater actress, TV actress. She's done so much great stuff. She danced with Al Pacino in Carlito's Way, and I am so excited to be talking with her today. A lot of people also know her from The Sopranos. Lots of great work. I'm so excited. I've been wanting this interview to happen for quite a while now, and I am just beyond lucky. And there's not much to say other than that, but because she's a woman who doesn't need any introduction, but I'm just gonna say it like this. So yeah, here is my interview with Saundra Santiago. So, going back in time, did you gravitate toward acting early on in your childhood?
Actually, not. I mean, you could say yes, in a way, but in my own brain, I came from a very Catholic upbringing, and to have those ideas were sort of, not accepted. But once I got to college, and as I call him, this idiot asked me to be in a play, and I caught the bug.
Wow. So when you were growing up in New York, you didn't go to like Broadway shows and say, "Man, I want to do that someday."
No. We left. I was very young when we left the Bronx. The winter after. What was it? When the moon, that they first walked on the moon.
Oh, that was 1969.
Okay, we moved to Miami in 1970.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have I have a lot of friends who went to the High School of Performing Arts, and I always thought if I had stayed in New York, I might have probably done something like that.
Yeah.
But it didn't, it didn't happen. And after that, I just became a very studious person and got scholarship to U of M, University of Miami, was studying psychology there, and as I said, someone asked me to be in a play, and that's when I caught the bug. And I'd always been a singer because I was in the church choir in the Bronx, and I loved singing. So I was more or less a singer. I taught myself. No, I don't think you teach singing. You either have a voice or you don't,
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
And so, were you on the trajectory at all of being a singer at one point?
Well, actually, when I started singing seriously in musicals at the University of Miami, I decided I should get some voice lessons, so that I could learn how to sing correctly. And I had an opera teacher, and he loved my voice, loved it. And he was teaching me opera. He was making me learn Italian songs, and he had hopes for me, and then I'll never forget the day I said, I'm moving to New York, and I'm becoming an actor. And he was just so upset. He says, I was going to make you great at that left. write mezzo. And I go, I don't know if I didn't gravitate to opera.
Mm-hmm. So you studied psychology at the University of Miami. Like, did you enjoy that? Like, was that something you were genuinely interested in?
Oh yes, I did. I love psychology. I love trying to figure people out.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why my acting came in.
Yeah.
It got used in my acting because I do love breaking people's personalities down, and why do they act a certain way? Why, like for example, this guy they just caught. Why would he get caught so easily?
Yeah.
I know that they know how to do that now. It's. However, he really had a lot of evidence on him, and I'm thinking, what is his? He had to be caught. He wanted to be caught, is what I think, and he had a manifesto and everything, and I'm curious about that. See, I would like be watching a show about him if I could. If there,
Yeah.
his breakdown. How did he get there? How it's very interesting to me.
Yeah. So then you do summer stock at Timberlake Playhouse in Illinois.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
You played Maria in West Side Story. That must have been it for you at the time, because the role in the play was so iconic, of course, by the movie. By that point.
It was just a summer stock,
Mm-hmm.
but for me it was the best thing at that time. It was incredible to hear that music, to know that I'm singing this music that I've heard over and over and over again. Because my parents went to see the movie, and we had the album
Mm-hmm.
in the house, and we played it a lot. And who doesn't know West Side Story?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have the soprano to do Maria,
Mm-hmm.
but I did do Anita because I did have some dancing chops. And that was fun, yeah. That was, when you're young, in your 20s, you think you can do anything.
Yeah. And then you learn pretty quickly, or sometimes it takes a while, that you can't do everything.
Right, yeah.
When Rita Moreno guest starred on Miami Vice, did you tell her you did that play?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did. She was impressed, and we have a picture together. I took a picture. Because in those days you didn't carry around with an iPhone or even a camera, which I wish I had. I swear, the photos I could have gotten
Mm-hmm.
if I had a regular camera, a good camera.
Yeah.
And I kick myself today for not doing that.
I think a lot of people do, because back then, if you carried a camera, it was a rare thing, but now everyone's got one. Yeah.
And I would have had the most incredible pictures with these incredible actors. I have all my pictures are Polaroids because you have a makeup person there, you have a wardrobe person there, and they all have Polaroids because they have to take a picture, to copy what they did the day, 2 weeks before. It has to be the same, and so I have a Polaroid of Rita and I. I have a Polaroid of Miles Davis and I.
Nice. That is so awesome.
I actually have a photo of Muhammad Ali and I, but he wasn't on the show. He just came to visit one day on the show.
That's awesome. So you made your Broadway debut in A View from the Bridge, and we lost Tony LoBianco recently.
I know.
What was it like working with him?
Oh, Great actor.
Yeah.
Great actor. And very lovable. In he's an actor studio guy, right?
Right.
I'm a member of the actor studio as well. I don't really go and perform there, you know. But he got into the character too much at times. That's my only problem with him.
Mm-hmm.
That he would get too physical, too angry, too, you know. But you know, he was doing 8 shows a week, and to play a character like he had 8 shows a week is very draining. For me, it was draining. It was, you know, it's a real tragedy, that show. And so, you know, we did it. We did it on the road. We went to Florida, in 2 or 3 theaters in Florida, and then we made it to the Broadway house, which was, I think it was there's a church on that street called St. Malachy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I reached out to him about 3 years ago, and sadly I didn't hear back, but I always admired him. I thought he was a very talented actor.
Oh, very, very talented. He should have won the Tony Award that year.
Yeah. You got nominated that year, right?
No.
Oh.
No. He was nominated.
Okay.
The show was nominated.
Okay.
James Hayden, sadly, who has been passed away for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Another great actor who would have been, could have been, should have been. Neither of us got nominated. We should have. We had the best reviews ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. In those days, I don't know. I mean, we were brand new. You know, we were like youngsters on the scene.
Yeah.
And I think that year they had nominated a couple of Broadway, you know, favorites.
When you did Evita in the national tour in 1989, were you nervous at all?
No, because the only thing I was nervous about was whether I had to travel. And when you go up in the plane, your voice changes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything can happen. I remember one time, we had landed, where were we? Like in Illinois, I don't know. Somewhere in the Midwest somewhere, in one of those beautiful theaters, the Palace Theater, or the Fox Theaters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those old theaters all over the country.
Yeah.
And I flew up, I flew down, we came back down. When we got to the hotel, all of a sudden I felt, I can't sing tonight. I have no voice. And I freaked out. That was the only time I would get nervous. I wasn't nervous about my performance or anything like that, just that my voice would be there. And they took me to a doctor. Turned out to be nothing, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like an allergy. And the doctor gave me some like prednisone or something. And I was fine. No, I was fine after that. I only got nervous in a couple of places where, oh God, I got to hit those notes there. But it was the best role I've ever played in my life, as far as musicals.
Did you want to do the movie?
Oh, well, of course, but they weren't going to look at me for the movie. No, I mean, of course I wanted to. I don't think I could have, though. I wasn't famous enough for that.
Yeah.
And I didn't necessarily look like Ava, even though Ava had brown eyes and, light skin.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't look like Madonna either. So.
Yeah, that's an
Hollywood
interesting.
is.
Yeah, that's an interesting casting decision there. So, how do you get cast in Beat Street?
Well, that was interesting. Um, the movie had been cast already. A friend of mine, Trini Lopez, wonderful little actress.
Yep.
Little. She had the part, and something happened, and all of a sudden, I get a call. Oh, Harry Belafonte wants to see you, and the director at the time was a different director, the first director. It wasn't Latham. It was another guy.
Oh, Andy Davis.
Andy Davis. And so I got this call. I ran to the audition, not prepared or anything. I had no idea what the movie was about. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that. They cast me on the spot.
Yeah, I talked to Michael Holman a few years ago, and he told me the whole thing about Andy Davis being the original director, and then there was some disagreements and all of that stuff. But I mean, his career has gone on. You know, I mean, The Fugitive.
He's done very well.
Yeah, The Fugitive and Under Siege, a lot of great movies that Andy Davis has directed.
I actually liked Andy. I liked I only did one scene with him, the scene when Ramo comes into the apartment building. We had to reshoot that. And I thought it was great, but I thought he was fine. I don't know. I didn't know maybe he wasn't familiar with breakdance.
Yeah, my brother, he recorded Beat Street off HBO when he was a kid, and like by the time I was of age, I watched it over and over again. It got to a point where I was singing the theme song on the way to school, and my grandmother was singing with me. It was so funny.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh.
She didn't know what the hell she was singing. That's the funny part.
Oh. Well, I remember there was one big scene we all had to do, or a couple of big scenes. I can't remember which one, but I sat with Melly May.
Uh-huh.
Melly Mel.
Yeah.
And he was the original father of rap, wasn't he?
Oh, yes. He's a pioneer of it. Yeah, I think you are so beautiful in this movie, and I love the chemistry.
Oh.
I love the chemistry between you and John, how you pronounce his last name, Chardiot? Chardier. I think that the chemistry between you two is so sweet. And the scene where, I was curious, the scene where you two show up at the surprise Christmas party at the apartment.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
I'm curious.
It was so realistic because
yeah.
by that time we'd all really gotten to like each other, and we were a group. We were hanging out together, and so when we walked into that, we all felt like, yeah, this is so real. This is not acting. We really like each other, and they really made this little apartment for us.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Was that apartment like musky or stinky smelling?
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. It was in the South Bronx. We had a huge snowstorm during the making of it. I don't know how the poor, camera crew got through all of that. It was just a mess. Just a mess. Because they weren't cleaning up the streets. It was like, and then everyone got sick. Everyone got the flu. It was crazy. But it was fun. I remember it being so much fun.
What was Ray Don Chong like to work with?
Oh, she was great. I don't think I had one scene with her.
I think maybe that party scene was it.
Yeah, the party scene. So we didn't get to hang out a lot. But she was fine. She was fine. She was definitely the most famous one.
She was just a cutie patootie. It's no wonder that she became a star,
Right. Right. And
Dwayne Jones from Night of the Living Dead had a role in the movie before he passed. Do you remember anything about him?
who?
Dwayne Jones, he was the middle-aged black man in the movie.
The what?
The middle-aged black man in the movie, Robert, he played.
I don't remember.
Okay.
If I saw his face, I would.
Yeah.
Robert, little Robert?
Yes.
He's a real break dancer.
I can't remember, but he is in the movie, Dwayne Jones. Do you remember anything about like Brenda K. Starr or The System?
No. Did she die?
Brenda K. Starr? I need to look that up. I don't know if she did. Yeah, and then there was what were they called? The Shaw Rock girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to hang out with all the performers. Like I said, I only got to sit and talk with Melly May during our lunch period, and he was so interesting. I really liked him.
Oh, she's alive. She's alive.
Brenda she is. Brenda K. Starr.
Yeah, she's alive.
I think I met her uncle once.
Yeah, the movie came out the same day as Ghostbusters, Gremlins, and Top Secret, and
oh my God.
Ghostbusters and Gremlins were number 1 and number 2 respectively, and there was like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Star Trek 3 that were just really ranking in the dough, and this movie and Top Secret both, fell to the bottom of the pile. Was everyone disappointed?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when it came out in the movie houses. I used that word the other day, and Roger said,
Yeah.
It was 3rd Avenue and 60-something Street. It came out there.
Yeah.
So my whole family, we all got together.
Mm-hmm.
We all got tickets and went to see the film. All of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like my father, my mother, my uncle, my aunt, my cousins. It was a big deal. It was a real big deal.
Uh-huh.
And Andy Warhol was there. Andy was at the screening I was at.
Wow.
I thought, wow. I mean, it must be something when Andy Warhol is here.
Mm-hmm.
But I had no idea that it was done.
Did you talk to him?
No, I didn't get to talk with him. When you're family, when you're with family, they just take up your space.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to get away and be normal and talk to other people. You have to pay attention to them. And I was nervous. It was the first time I'd seen I was technically my second movie. My first movie was a movie called.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Edna. No, not Ed.
I have to look it up here, but I know which one. Yeah.
Yeah, I shot that in New Orleans, or by the coast of New Orleans.
The end of August?
End of August. I was still in college. My master. I was doing my second year of my master's. Mm-hmm. And we were not supposed to be working. We were not supposed to audition. But an agent in Texas spotted me, and she would send me out on modeling things, and I made extra money that way, Mm-hmm. And I remember doing Mary Kay cosmetic stuff, and then she said, I have an audition for a movie. And it was, what was his name? Wonderful producer. He produced Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Blake Edwards?
No, not Blake Edwards. God damn. Martin Giroux.
Oh, okay.
Martin Giroux. He produced end of August. And he also directed it.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to set. It's a small part. It's the character of Mariquita. She's like a Creole young girl.
Mm-hmm.
And they had Kathleen Widows in it. They had, oh my God, the best actors from New York. What's his name? Let me look it up.
You're talking about the end of August?
Yeah, end of August.
I know Mark Lindbaker's in it.
Yes. Paul Shinar.
Yeah.
You might remember him from Scarface.
Oh, yes.
David Marshall Grant.
Gregory Nava co-wrote the movie. He did, was it El Norte?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it was like the most incredible cast for an independent film. And I just remember thinking, wow. And then, I had to get special permission to do that because it was against the rules. Mm-hmm. But I got away with it.
And too, I think one of the reasons why Beat Street didn't hit big is because Breakin' came out a month before, and I think everyone was kind of breakdanced out by that point.
Right. Yeah, I didn't see Breakin'. I wasn't in. I know a lot of people who were into the breakdance and hip hop world, and I just wasn't into it. I was, just trying to get work,
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I loved working, and I feel very proud that I was in it, and I got to hang and Harry Belafonte and all these, it was just really an amazing time, early 80s.
So does that lead to Miami Vice?
Yeah, because as a matter of fact, while I'm doing Beat Street, all the kids are coming up to me and saying, "Hey man, there's a really great part for you in this new series called it was not called Miami Vice. It was called
what, MTV Cops?"
No. I always forget that name. And a different title. And someone even gave me the script. They said, "Here, look at the script. You better study this because you're going to be up for that." Mm-hmm. And sure enough, I was called in for it.
Yeah.
It was still called, what was it called?
It says the show was originally going to be called Gold Coast.
Gold Coast, yes, that was the script. I might have even had that script, but all my scripts from whatever I worked in that were not in my mother's garage when Hurricane Andrew hit, were destroyed. Yeah, all the scripts were gone.
That's sad. What did you think of this concept of, because that's what they did pitch it as, MTV Cops? I mean, it was just so different from any detective show that was ever on at that time.
Well, I think everybody has their own views on what it was pitched as, Mainly Anthony Yerkovich. It was really his brainchild, mixed with Michael Mann's style of filmmaking. And, I think Anthony had a couple of other shows. So he was the new boy on the block, and he wrote it. And then Michael turned it into this visual piece,
Mm-hmm.
And they were always going to shoot in Miami. I thought we would move to San Diego, but we stayed in Miami.
I remember being 6 years old, going to Universal Studios in LA, and we saw like a behind the scenes video of the making of Miami Vice. And it had just ended by that point, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever seeing, the behind the scenes look of it, because I was a big fan of the show. I've always have been.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. I just at this 40th anniversary, people came from everywhere, from as far as Australia. I mean, it was so crazy. It's been 40 years, and you think people would forget, but no, it was ahead of its time at the time. You know what I'm saying? Now it's a little dated if you see it, and then everybody's doing the same thing, really.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing a form of Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Updated form of Miami Vice. There's music and shows now. There's, it started a whole genre.
I know you watch other detective shows from before and during that time, and then you see this show, and it's like, oh my God, it was like the first one, and you forget that there's been so many copycats since then because this was the first one. It was the definitive, groundbreaking detective show with music in the background.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite episodes?
Well, I will say the ones that are my favorite are the ones I was in because I got to work.
Yeah.
They didn't use me as much as they should have.
Yeah, I agree.
I was third billing, which meant I was, I should have had more playtime.
I agree.
But the boys took over, and I had to come to terms with that.
I know there should have been more episodes where Gina was, kicking some ass and taking names and maybe even being the hero of the episode and the guys being all jealous. That would have been so great.
No, well, that would never have happened. It was such a macho show. Only guys had to come off on top. They had to.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, the pilot, I think it's one of the best pilots ever. I just love it from start to finish. I love how in that pilot, Don Johnson and Michael Thomas, they banter back and forth like Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte in 48 Hours, except there's no vulgarity, but they are still making those kind of racist innuendos at each other and just bickering. I love it. I love the second episode, which has Ed O'Neill in it, early role for him. Yeah, I love the Phil Collins episode. Do you remember anything about him?
Oh, I loved working. Well, I didn't get to work with him opposite him, but I was in one scene when he did a lot in, and so I got to see him and talk to him. And then one time, our producer, while Phil was on, it took like 2 weeks to shoot an episode, or a week and a half. What is it? A week and a half? No. It took about 10 days.
Yeah.
And so Phil was there for a long time. He did 2 episodes, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, our producer, our incredible producer, rented a boat that went up and down the coast of the Intercoastal, and we ate, lobster and whatever, and it was a fun, it was just like all of us hanging out, like a party, crew party, casting crew party. And I got to hang out with him a lot on that boat. I brought my best friend Pam and her son, and we had such a great time. And I have a photo of that, too. In fact, I was the only one who brought a camera. And I got the shots. And I just don't understand why I didn't do that a lot more, but...
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the pilot made, Phil's song "In the Air Tonight" so iconic.
Yeah.
It always was powerful, but, people think of Miami Vice when they think of that song,
Of course. Yeah, every time I hear it, I'm like, slowly I turn.
Yeah.
That's nice stuff. You know that whole
Yeah.
joke?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's crazy. I hear it all the time in the shops. They play it all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah. Do you remember anything from the Frank Zappa episode?
No, I don't remember Frank Zappa.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe I met him. So I don't think I was either not in that. I was probably not in that episode.
Okay.
Because I asked to be out a lot.
Yeah.
When I saw that I wasn't being used,
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm going to New York. You know.
Yeah.
And I would disappear, and then I'd come back. They wouldn't let me out of my contract. I wanted to do this film with Steven Spielberg called Batteries Not Included. They wouldn't let me out to do that.
Oh, God.
They wouldn't let me even go see the... I needed to be out a few hours
Mm-hmm.
to go meet the Pope when he came to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I had a personal invite from, the Pope's people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to sit near him. I was going to get to meet him, and they wouldn't let me do that even. It was just,
Yeah.
Those were not the happy times for me.
I'm so sorry you went through that, Saundra, but, we a lot of us, we love you from that show, for what you did, and I commend you for being the soldier that you are.
That's a good name to call it. That's true. I was a soldier. I didn't want to be there, but I had to be there. But it's not that I didn't want. It's not like I didn't appreciate the gift I was given.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt that I didn't know I was going to lock myself in a contract that wouldn't allow me to be more free.
Right.
I thought, well, I'll do this, and then I'll do a movie, and then I'll do that, come back. But it was, in those days, they didn't allow you to do that. It was Universal. They were threatening to sue me if I jumped ship.
And the funny thing about it is, Batteries Not Included is a Universal movie, so...
Well, that's why I got caught.
Oh.
In between, Spielberg was doing all these great movies. He wanted me. He called Michael Mann 2 or 3 times to say, can we use her? We'll get her back during blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Mann, either he said no, or whoever's beyond Michael Mann and Steven Spielberg, because they were both the boys at Universal, making
Mm-hmm.
tons of money. Whoever told them, no, this is not allowed. We're not going to let, I don't know. It seemed kind of mean and brutal at the time.
Right.
But I think there's so much politics involved in big shows like that.
Yes. Tell me about Dancing with Pacino in Carlito's Way.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to do that either. I think De Palma was throwing me a bone because I was supposed to play Gina in Scarface.
Uh-huh.
And that kind of, they took the rug out from under me.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole story, it seems like I've had all these disappointments, but I actually don't want to come off like that, because it's not like didn't have a nice career. I've had a good career,
Yeah.
It's just that there were opportunities that it's like you always remember the missed opportunities instead of the ones you have.
Right.
So Bonnie called me. She said, De Palma wants you to do the small part. And I said, okay, I'll do it, because Pacino's a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want my name on the, title. She said, why? It's going to be a big film, Saundra, and I said, I know, but, it's such a small role, and anyway, they photographed me well, and that was fun. I enjoyed working with both of them, with both Pacino and Sean Penn. Sean was very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 days of this long, club scene. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
And then you got to work with Sidney Poitier and Peter Bogdanovich on To Sir With Love too. That's got to be a huge highlight in your career.
That was, yeah. Unfortunately, you didn't think unfortunately, I had just gotten divorced the day before.
Mm-hmm.
They flew me to Chicago. My first husband and I divorced. It was very brutal. And I don't even know how I got that part. I walked in, I was stunned to meet Sidney Poitier. And I think that's what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted,
excuse me.
That was the character. He has a history of being a great teacher, and they needed that, and Sidney, his eyes shone. He shined from top to bottom. And Bogdanovich was great. I had so much fun with him. He was very funny, very dry.
Yeah.
Always wore that thing around his neck.
Yeah. He directed some of my favorite movies of all time: The Last Picture Show, What's Up, Doc, Paper Moon. Yeah.
I thought he was great.
Yeah. How was the Sopranos experience?
Well, you say that the pilot of Vice was the best pilot you ever seen. When I read Sopranos pilot, I thought, this is the best script I have read in years as a pilot.
Yeah.
And I wanted that so badly. I wanted Dr. Malfi, the part of Dr. Malfi. And I got called in at first for Carmela. And I remember thinking, no, I'm not right for Carmela. I'm just not right for Carmela.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when I read for Carmela for David, his name,
David Chase.
David Chase, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So David was conducting the auditions. He says, okay, I want you to come back. I want you to read for Melton. And I went, yeah, I think I'm more appropriate for that. And I did. I came back. And he says, geez, you're good in both. I go, well, then next thing I know, I'm being flown to L.A. to read for Dr. Malfi opposite Gandolfini. But in the interim, I learned that Lorraine Bracco had already signed a deal to play Melfi. She was offered Carmela, but she didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another disappointment. But so then David Chase, wrote up that character, the neighbor, and that's how I got in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, it was very fun. It was a lot of fun to do. It was the best show I've ever worked on as far as writing and directing and, TV show. I mean, just great. Just great, great, great.
Yeah. And then you did daytime soap operas, Guiding Light and One Life to Live. Do you find that working on soap operas are exhausting? Because a lot of actors have told me it is.
Yeah. It's beyond exhausting. They give you the scripts in advance, but you're shooting the other script. You're in the studio shooting, so you really have no time to learn the next script until the weekend or the night before. And it's not like it's the most difficult dialogue to learn because it's always repetitive, but it's a different kind of repetitive. It's like they want the audience to remember what happened like 2 weeks ago or maybe even a month ago.
Right.
So they repeat a lot of the lines, and then you get all confused. Because I remember thinking, saying while I'm shooting, but I said this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They already know this. I already said this. Why do I have to say this again? And, they would just shush me, and I just have to say it and move on. And, it was really hard.
Yeah, because...
That was like the hardest job I've ever done, acting-wise, was doing a soap opera. The hardest.
Because they get mad if you stop. If you got, all like 50 pages of dialogue to memorize, if you stop, you're fired. And it's a weird way to work, I feel. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah, they don't like you enough. They never. I used to stop all the time, and they were very frustrated with me. But I delivered. Whenever I did get the scene, it was good. So, they couldn't fire someone who's good. They were just, why. And the guy who played my son and I, we would go over our scenes over and over and over again, and we did good work together.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that. But I'll tell you, it's the hardest job I've ever had. Doing the soap.
It paid off, though, because you got like a special daytime Emmy, right?
No, I didn't get an Emmy. I got an Alma Award.
Oh, okay.
A Latino award that they do once a year, of course, and the Alma Awards. The year I got one, they gave a special award to J-Lo, and she was married to...
Ben Affleck?
No, the singer at the time.
Oh.
Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony.
Yeah. And I knew Mark because he was the singer in the scene in Scarface.
Mm-hmm.
He I don't know if they show Mark Anthony, but he was in that club scene. He was the house band kind of singer.
Mm-hmm.
And Jelly Bean produced the soundtrack. Jelly Bean Benitez.
You made several appearances on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. God, that must have been a lot of fun.
Oh, that was a hoot, yeah. He was such a funny, wonderful guy. He made me feel so comfortable. He got me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He got my humor, and he brought it out in me somehow. And, those are fun times, being flown out for the Johnny Carson show. Because, I was an East Coast person. I was either in New York or I was in Miami shooting the show.
Yeah, I saw the one you did where you talked about selling TV guides.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Well, that was a horrible job.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. And another guest of mine was on that night, too, Teresa Ganzel.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Love her.
He loved her.
Yeah. They used to do the Art Fern Tea Time sketches.
Right.
Yeah. She told me it's like the biggest highlight of her career is getting to do that.
Well, it was pretty big, I will say. I mean, I couldn't believe I was on Johnny Carson. I never understood how I made it on Johnny Carson, but he liked me.
Yeah. And also Bob Newhart was on there that night, too.
Yes. He was very funny. And I think Bill Maher was on one of them that I did.
Yeah.
Al Jarreau sang in the first one I did.
Right.
And, there were a lot of people. It was always a star-studded thing,
Mm-hmm.
And I had friends in L.A., and And at the time, and I'd be in touch with some of them because I didn't live in LA. I didn't know LA.
Yeah.
Actually at all. And so they'd come, and at that time I wanted to be at the Chateau Marmont.
Mm-hmm.
It was not fancy at that time, believe you me, but it was a fun hotel, and it was right in the middle of everything, right off of Sunset Boulevard. So all my friends could come see me, or they, I got them tickets to the show, to the Johnny Carson show. It was fun. It was fun to do it.
Do you have anything upcoming that you can mention?
No, I don't. I have a movie that's on Amazon Prime
Mm-hmm.
that people can see called Don Q, like the liquor, Don Q, but it means Don Quixote, and it stars Armand Desante, and I play his sister, for which I won a Garden State Best Supporting Actress for
Mm-hmm.
award, the Garden State Film Awards or something like that. They happen every year,
Mm-hmm.
and that's out now. Anybody can see that, and it's a really quirky mob movie.
Nice. I like quirky mob movies.
Well, you might like this. It's not really, it's a comedy, a dark comedy.
Yeah.
I only audition for things that I feel I'm connected to, because I'm too tired to be hustling.
Of course.
And, it's exhausting, and business doesn't treat women well, and so I have to protect myself. I'm very comfortable right now,
Mm-hmm.
but if a good job came along, of course I jump at it, but I don't want to have to do something because I feel like, I'm desperate,
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to do something great like you always do. And this has been an amazing honor. Thank you so much for coming on. And I hope you enjoy your party tonight. Have a Feliz Navidad and Happy New Year, and be safe out there.
You too. Likewise. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, Tommy.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Saundra Santiago. Ain't she a sweetheart? Oh my God, I just loved her. I love her passion for life, her zest for life, and she's had a great career, and it's going to keep on going. I'm sorry that she went through all that horrible stuff with Miami Vice, but it's a part of history that we learn from, I guess. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes!